Hello, hello. Just finished Yakuza Ishin, or Like a Dragon Ishin, with a new branding name, I guess. I do have a review. I'll bring it right now. Let's put the trail on the background in the meantime. Because I'm going to be putting snippets of my own experience with the game. I have the translation somewhere, as you guys can see here. It's super long. So ChatGPT took a while to translate the entire thing. Look, shit. Wait, hold up. What is it? Yeah, it's fucking huge. Alright, so let's start with the review though. While I'm reading this on the side, you guys can see the trailer. Uh, so the main franchise, since Yakuza 0 elevated the series to a different level. I've only played 3 Yakuza games so far, including this one, and I can say they're all the same, apart from the new direction the franchise is taking. Though I doubt it will be all that different, for better or for worse. These games are generally beat 'em ups, wrapped up as if they were JRPGs. So the fact that Like a Dragon, Infinite World, and Like a Dragon Yakuza have changed the combat system to something more fitting shouldn't surprise to anyone familiar with this franchise. The game, like the others I play, maintains 2 constant tones, or as I like to call them in musical terms, tonalities. And this is what the franchise clings to and extends its legacy. Which tone do you like more? Which tone do you think is unnecessary? After playing, which tone do you think is the pillar of the series? Could this franchise exist without the other tone? Is it really necessary to combine both tones, sometimes even in an exaggerated way? These are constant questions because the franchise is always doing this. It takes you down a path where everything is super serious and grim. Blood and people on the brink of death wherever you go, only for the path to suddenly turn into someone's quickie fetish, ranging from suggestive vegetable requests to a destiny-filled encounter where dancing is the solution to societal and political problems. And this is just a small part of a single game that repeats itself in the next one, and the next, and maybe the next. Sure, the specifics of this path will involve different people, but its tonality remains the same, and the overarching arcing themes don't stray far from what the series wants to convey and highlight. Focusing solely on Ishin from here on out, particularly its story, this installment showcases melodramatization in all its glory. I don't know how much of it aligns with the actual Japanese history and historical figures, but I honestly don't care and will accept it as a work of fiction. The plot is super slow, but introduction of the main character, Sakamoto Ryoma, comes with a major motif, revenge. Thus, on a journey to find out who killed his adopted father, we'll encounter endless dramas and inner dilemmas mixed with a bit of politics and romance in between, most of which I'll skip over for simplicity's sake. Let's break down the supposed dramatics from beginning to end. Spoilers ahead, and not necessarily in the order presented in the game. I'm trying to recall everything from memory. Sakamoto, who changes his name to Saito Hajime upon arriving in a new city, pretends to be a lazy drunkard and reckless gambler to his acquaintances. In reality, he's fighting anyone who might have even the slightest bit of useful information. In this violent quest, he gets a lead that forces him to join a government-affiliated private organization of low-ranking samurai who carry out the vision of justice. Within this organization, the Shinsengumi, he bonds with his new colleagues, finds himself, and learns that he's not just seeking revenge. He wants answers and the ultimate truth. Along the way, between punches and brawls, sometimes naked or drunk literally, he also connects with leaders of other organizations that pose both the government and the Shinsengumi. During a personal lull, our dear protagonist starts gaining recognition among the town's residents, who begin seeking his help, or he goes to them like a magnet for good deeds. I'll make a separate note about this later, as there's enough material to feel closer. After much meandering and brawling with half the city, including his friends, he discovers that one of his close allies, whom he considered a brother, has died after committing a suicide act. falling into a depressive spiral and trying to drown his sorrows in alcohol across 20 different bars, he encounters the leaders of the other two organizations. After sharing some hearty punches and continuing their revelry wherever they go, he manages to get these organizations to ally in pursuit of equitable territory for all. Later, his real name, Sakamoto Ryoma, starts circulating throughout the city. He becomes associated with shady dealings, such as plotting to overthrow the current Japanese government with British, illegal arms trading, and the murders of important figures. The real Sakamoto, confused, investigates and discovers that it's his supposedly dead brother using his name. This revelation also coincides with his organization starting to doubt him and his intentions. Here, he gets to know the organization's founder more deeply, and the latter's sense of justice and goodwill begins to outweigh Sakamoto's personal search for the truth. From here, with only a brief pause for a date with a girl, Sakamoto's story speeds toward its climax, converging all his paths into one. The leader of the Shinsengumi is murdered, and it's revealed that the perpetrator is the fake Sakamoto, his brother. The internal conflict within the organization leads to the formation of a new faction that joins forces with the British to invade Japan. A small, select group of Shinsengumi members decide to approach the current government to prevent civil war and advocate for abolishing the current system. With one empire down, the only thing left is to confront the fake Sakamoto. A bold, five-man determined to end all this agony, and a confrontation with another empire led by the fake Sakamoto. With punches and sword slashes, the fake Sakamoto falls, and it's revealed that someone else was pulling the strings behind it. A decrepit old man who saw power by selling the country and opening its borders to free invasion. The real Sakamoto, after surviving 3 direct gunshots, delivers an emotional speech about how people like him are needed in the country. That, even if Japan falls to the British invasion, its people will rise again.
誰がてめえにこの国のケツ拭いてくれって頼んだ。この国の道を決めんのはお前でも俺でもね。ここにいる誰でもな。イギリスの艦隊がどうした。そんなんで日本は滅びる国じゃねえ。
お前は分かっちゃいない。負けるのは目に見えているんだぞ。
いや、たとえ今負けたとしても日本は何度でも立ち上がるさ。まだ見ぬ兄弟たちによってな。俺らは兄弟たちに伝えなきゃならねえんだ。この国に生きる者にとって本当に必要なもん。この国にはまだ多くの血が流れるだろう。しかし土佐を出て兄弟生き初めて分かった。近藤や桂に最後、それに竹地の兄弟、皆流れた血の先に何があるのかを知っている。
何を言っている。
人間ってのは間違う。間違ってばかりだ。でもな、それでも俺らは進まなきゃならねえんだよ。この国の夜明けを信じてな。進むことをやめちまったら託すべき未来もなくなっちまう。俺らの仕事は生きていける世の中を作ることじゃねえ。生きていてよかったと思える国を作ることなんじゃねえのか。
よせ。
この国の未来は今はまだ顔も見たこともねえ、声を聞いたこともねえ兄弟たちがきっと作ってくれる。一緒にあの世で日本の夜明けを見ようじゃねえか。陽動さん。
やめるんだやめるんだ龍馬
日本の兄弟たちよ、また会いたじゃ。
Now, the quick version without major spoilers, the roles, commodity, a few drinks, and some deaths, everything can be found and resolved. Let's talk about the rest of the game and how it compares to others. The plot is already hard to summarize, but I wanted to spill it out because it's mainly the best part. Not so much in pacing, but definitely in quality and emotion. A few scenes even tugged at my heartstrings. Earlier, I mentioned that this franchise is a beat 'em up, masquerading as a JRPG. Well, it's packed with side activities. Many of us who grew up with this genre probably spent hours on minigames trying to uncover all the side story, complete a sort of codex, grind for skills, levels, and special weapons, etc. And it felt like that was the main game. Nope, that was just part of the package and the general experience. And this beat 'em up has decided to do things this way. Like it or not, you'll be forced to do some side missions. They feel jarring when they appear because of the noticeable contrast with the main plot. Not just in quality but in tone. If the main story feels serious, all the side activities are downright absurd. It's a quick rundown of everything that feels out of place compared to the plot. Dancing and karaoke minigames, helping a mailman find his way, becoming a disciple of a martial art that neither the game nor anyone else cares about, helping an elderly couple find a burial spot for their dog, assisting a guy in translating letters written in a very rural dialect, discovering a brothel where the pleasure lies in spending the night with sumo wrestlers, finding the true meaning of the dance Eja Neika, teaching someone to fish after 5 years of failure, building bonds with merchants, and so on across the vast array of sub-stories. And it doesn't stop there. At one point, Sekimoto has to manage a house and take care of a little girl. The house doubles as a vegetable market, and he runs a small farm to cultivate goods. In another part, the game unlocks a dungeon crawler mode where you can grind and farm materials to become both a renowned blacksmith and a capable captain for his organization. The game is huge in terms of content, in terms of quality. Personally, not so much, especially some side stories which leave much to be desired and make you wonder if they should have been skipped entirely. For example, there's a side story where you feed the child vegetables, only to end up cooking a salad dish for his tofu-obsessed mother. But then we come back to the debate about which tone of the game we prefer, the absurd, more playful side, or the main storyline where we experience Sakamoto's journey and help change Japan during this era. If I choose both, the contrast is stark. If I choose one, it feels like something is missing. To conclude, because this is getting way too long, it's a game I recommend, this one, Kiwami or Zero, but not the entire franchise. As I said before, one is enough, as the rest are the same, and from there it's up to each player to decide whether to continue, stop, or revisit later. Different plots and characters, but the beginning, development, and end of each game are almost identical. Running around town, rolling with everyone, engaging in side activities that feel way too similar compared to others in the franchise, a convoluted main plot that somehow feels like you've already heard it before, a soundtrack that's fantastic the first couple of times but predictable by the third, and a mysterious teaser ending hinting at a sequel. My next Yakuza games will be Kiwami 2 and 7, but I already know that if I skip one, while I might miss some context, the core experience will remain largely unchanged, aside from a few aesthetic differences. I haven't talked about the combat system because it's pretty simplistic, with some depth from its skill trees and styles, but nothing particularly memorable. Aside from the typical meme where Sakamoto goes nuts and slams someone into a wall before finishing them off with the next shot, and that same someone gets back up like they just had a headache. And yep, that is my review. I do plan to stream the other two Yakuza games that I mentioned. I'm not sure when, because I'm not expecting to just beat the main story. I'm expecting to do a lot of the side activities and side content. So wait for it. And yeah, comment below if you have something to say, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao ciao.
一緒にあの世で日本の夜明けを見ようじゃねえか。 ヨーダをさ。
やめるんだやめるんだ龍馬。
日本の兄弟たちよ、また会いたじゃ。
That was a nice speech.